All right, welcome to Feature Friday, everyone. I am here with some experts. And so I'm going to talk just a little bit about creating social media using AI and Pagewheel's copy packs. But then I'm going to throw it to the experts here who are in the trenches of doing this every single day. And because one of the questions I get so often in the chat, and if you're visiting Pageville, open up that live chat, ask a question. I'm on the other side. If you have a problem, send me the information and we will fix it. But one of the most common questions I get is have a niche. I have a very, very special niche. And that's good because the more specialized your niche is, the more likely you are going to find your people online. The people who don't have specified niches are the people that are floundering as far as getting that content out there. Now, caveat on that is then you're like, how do I use a AI tool? How do I use a tool to niche it to me? And so that's where I want to look at this just briefly as far as some of the things that you can do within Pagewheel to have AI assist you. But even though we love AI and we love AI assist, we have to remember the reason why your content, your AI created content or inspired content is going to work is because you're human and you're going to curate it and create it. Actually, there is very few times that and one of the reasons why we don't have like generate push to social media button. I don't want you to push it. I don't want you to push the 4,000 AI generated ideas. I want you to go through it and say, this is what I love. This is me. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't even thought of that. I'm so glad that AI inspired me to think about that. And so that's what I want to have you guys thinking about and see how people are using it. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go over to the dashboard of Pagewheel, if I can get this going. And what I've done is I am in just the dashboard of Pagewheel, and you can see we kind of had two sides of Pagewheel. The digital product side is what you're seeing here, where we can create a digital product and then host it and sell it or give it away on Pagewheel. Or we can go over to copy packs, which is kind of the AI creation of content. So let's go over to copy packs. And broken fridge. This is for those of you on Rachel's email list, you will know why I have that in there. I feel like that's going to be, let's see, maybe yesterday or either next Thursday. I don't know which. But what I want you to do is think about, and this can be used for anything. Like we put this in place to promote your Pagewheel products. But that doesn't mean that's what you have to use it for. You can use it for literally anything. So let's say today that I am going to be thinking about promoting a coloring book for Christmas for kids ages 4 to 7. We scroll down here where there's all sorts of different things and I wanted to show that's a really specific thing. Like you can see how specific I got with that. And that may not even be specific enough. And that's one of the things that we can always come back and re-prompt this if this didn't work out the way we want it to go. So don't be afraid to get really, really specific with AI. In fact, the more specific, because AI, what I think one of the downsides of AI is in order to give you something that they think you'll like, it's very general. So whatever specificity you use there, it's the AI is going to generalize it to begin with because that's how it makes more people happy. And one of the things that we need to realize that social media, if you are looking for your chosen people, the people that will raise their hands and follow you, they are looking for specificity, not vagueness, because there's a lot of vagueness out there. All right. So let's go, and I'm going to start with the social calendar because I feel like that's one of the easiest way to do that. And then I'm going to do a meme packs just because I think if you're getting started here, that's one of the easiest ways to get started. But there's all sorts of other things in here. Let's do the viral hooks and descriptions too because I think that's awesome. And then we're just going to take me to a copy. And so it's going to pull up these things one by one and we can look at them and it will take a second. And we were down a little bit yesterday, but OpenAI was down for about 4 hours yesterday, by the way, which was part of our problem. All right, so here's
Instagram lost its mind last week.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel like we're in good company when we have a bump in the road every once in a while these days. And what had happened to us is when OpenAI is down, like we have to go and reset some things. And so our team was just learning that because that is kind of a rare occurrence. So this is the social calendar. This is one of the things that, like, if you're just getting started with what Pagewheel, social media has to offer you, this is a really good inspiration. This is actually the first thing that we ever created with AI was this template. And the reason for that is this is how when I create a social media calendar for whatever page or product or passion project I have going on, is I start with how can I talk about it, the same type of topic, different ways every single post, but still come back to that underlying theme. So that's what this social media calendar does. If this is the first time you've ever run it, you might take it a little bit more literally than me, who's been, was on Twitter day one 150 years ago. Like at this point, I'm going to be like, oh, I like this idea on Monday and this idea on Saturday. I'm going to go make posts. And what I do is I literally if I'm scheduling Facebook, I may have my Facebook open, my Facebook scheduler open. I might be saying, okay, these 4 ideas I can do without creating anything else. Like, oh, I'm going to go pull a link. Oh, I already have this picture on my computer that's perfect for this. And what I'm doing is taking the idea and executing the idea with a push of a button of scheduling it in the future. Okay. In my case, I have a spreadsheet that I might have as an intermediary in some respects. So if I'm posting several times a day or several times a week and I want to keep track of that, I might have this open and my spreadsheet open. So I might say, okay, here I'm going to share a sneak peek of an adorable illustrations found inside the coloring book for Christmas. So I might say, okay, in this spreadsheet, I'm going to say, check this cute here, or here's a sneak peek of what you're going to find in this coloring book. And then I might just put a little highlight that tells me I need to go get a screenshot that I'm going to put with that. So I'm trying to complete a task as much as possible. So I'm setting myself up for success to schedule it as quickly as possible. So whether I'm going straight from here to the scheduler or I'm doing into a spreadsheet so that I'm like making a to-do list so that when I come back, I'm like, okay, I need these 3 images. I need to go get that screenshot of that coloring page. I need a picture of a crayon for this one. I need another screenshot for this one. Then I can go grab those all at once and then schedule my thing. So that what I'm trying to do is create a batch of work so that I can sit down with a bunch of ideas and then schedule out a bunch of posts without let me just take you back a few years. What would happen is I would sit down and go, okay, I'm going to make a month's worth of social media. And then I'm like, I make 3 amazing posts. Like those first 3 posts of the month are amazing. And then like 27 days of dialing it in because you're sitting there and I've got to get this done. And by day 15 on that social media calendar, you're like, I've given up. Like, I don't care. Stop. I hate this already. Please stop. So this gives you kind of that like push to still be creative on day 15. Day 30. Otherwise, your social media followers, if they were paying attention, be like, yeah, I'm just going to tune in the first few days of each month. so, so this is kind of the philosophy why, but the nuts and bolts of grabbing something and putting it into either a calendar for you to schedule you or someone else to schedule really quickly, or you opening up that scheduler and putting it in and making that a quick business. So you can see the social media calendar has that for a whole bunch of different scenarios. There, obviously, you don't have to use these just on Facebook. You don't have to use these just on Instagram. The way we do that is what you put in one prompt, Pagewheel is going to prompt a bunch of things behind the scenes to make these templates happen. And you will see a little bit different. So that the ones that are under Instagram are obviously going to be a little bit more image forward, because you would generally put content onto Instagram that is more image forward than maybe on Facebook. On Pinterest, it's going to be very much image forward. And then the themes on Pinterest are going to be more tips, tricks, hacks, behind the scenes, like and also Pinterest is a very purchase forward. So call to actions and those kind of things are going to be that. And then the groups, you can use anytime and anywhere that you want to gain more engagement, more team building, more, hey, we're in this together. So you may find some of these group type conversation starters are going to work really well on some of these other platforms as well. Let's go to the meme packs really quickly. So the one thing about the meme packs, and this is really the only way we prompt a little bit differently, but I wanted to show you what this looked like when I prompted it with a longer prompt. The meme packs are the one place that you may want to just use a 1, 2, or 3 word prompt. But let's see what this came out. Me to my coloring book. You is smart. You is kind. You is important. You is colorful. You is aging me. You is expensive. All right. So if I was going to use this, probably going to cut out some of those words, but inspiring, like, I think we could probably come up with a meme that's actually kind of cute with that theme in mind. Current relationship status, seriously committed to my Christmas coloring book collection. I kind of like that. Like we could probably tweak that just a little bit, but you can see I'm likely not in this case going to be copying and pasting this directly into my meme. I'm going to be using a human touch to make it a little bit more clarifying. And this is one of those things. AI is really bad at jokes because AI does not know what is funny. All right. So the reason why we can even get close with AI is because we have programmed this with a bunch of successful memes from the past. And so AI is adapting it, but then we're going to have to sometimes say, okay, AI, that's a little over the top. Yeah, due to personal reasons, I'll be coloring Christmas scenes again this weekend. That actually could be really, really funny for a certain, I don't know that works really well for kids 4 to 7, but I think it might resonate with, the parents. Like maybe you're going to sneak this away, on Christmas Eve for a little quiet time because it's crazy in your house and you need, some stress release. So but one of the things I might do if I was going to actually create a pack of memes or a series of memes around this coloring book is I might go back and re-prompt it for coloring book or Christmas coloring book and see it and run it again. And then the other thing I wanted to show is the viral descriptions I often will use these. These are going to be sensationalized, dramatic, a little bit more than humans. Because I think another thing that happens when we're like scheduling a lot of social media out is we start just getting boring or just resorting to, okay, this is a word that I say a lot. And this is going to push you into some of those thesaurus words, some of those over the top things that might get a little bit more attention and push your brain there. So 10 adorable Christmas coloring pages for kids. Brighten up your holidays with festive. Get creative, unleash. And the internet loves the words unleash. I don't think I've ever used the word unleash in real life, but spread cheer. And these aren't going to be as over the top as some of your other themes are, but magical illustrations, ho, 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 those type of things can give you some words that when you're scheduling, you're like, oh, that makes, thank you. I'll just copy that sentence for a description or for a headline or for an inspiration of another post. I would love to open up to those of you who are using the copy packs in your social media and let you give some tips to those who may not have kind of figured out their path and their system, and give some inspiration of how you get actual work done by using this tool. Y'all are so shy. Cynthia.
You just got to get us started.
Nobody's going to talk. So, hey, here's our perfect opportunity.
Yeah, go for it, Cynthia, and then we'll go to Kim.
Copy packs has been interesting for me. I use it all the time. And I think one of the things that I have learned is to play around with the prompting. Exactly what you just said, just actually from a meeting a couple of days ago with you mentioned, because I said I was having a problem with the identity post. And so I've changed how I prompt that. And I'm like, oh, ta-da, the bells went off and the choir sang. Yes, thank you, Lord. And so I've been able to do that. And then also with the memes, exactly what you just said, just reaffirming, like you need reaffirming, but I'm just saying the smaller the prompt in a meme is better than the longer. Mm-hmm. And so even though, and so this is why I want to say this. So I'm a faith-based coach, and most people tend to think, oh, she teaches Bible studies and she teaches journaling, and that's not it at all. I go more into coaching or maybe pastoral counsel. That's my background. So I'm talking about helping people that are moving through issues. So mine have to tend to be a little bit different, because nobody wants to raise their hand and say, my marriage is falling apart, I need help, not on social media.
Yeah.
Right. Or, you know what? I hope this is an adult audience, but, I was raped and I'm having nightmares, that kind of thing. And so, but there's a way to do that. And copy packs makes that easy. And so I just want to encourage people, to those of us who are maybe in a niche, but in a niche, that you just keep messing with the prompting, and then you'll be able to find your voice. And I've started saving. That was another question. I think it was Deanna Wheeler said it would be great to have a feature so we could save the prompt, because you get this great result, and you're like, oh shoot, what was it that I did to get that result? So I've started, as soon as I put it in, I save the prompt on a notepad, and then if it's not good, I scratch it, but if it's good, I keep it. So
Cynthia, if I could ask you, because this comes up a lot, is that someone comes to, Pagewheel copy packs, and they're like, I am a faith-based blah, 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 blah. And they have like a list of 5 or 6 things that like are non-negotiable.
Right.
But one of the things that, and I would love to hear how you handle this. One of the things that I would encourage people to do is, you don't have to put all 5 of those things into that prompt. Is like, you could create, or like AI's version of faith-based and your version of faith-based may be completely different. And so you might actually go for a coaching type or a situational type prompt, and then you might inject the faith yourself. How do you handle that?
That's exactly what you're right on. The same thing is what I have to do, because a lot of the things don't fit for me. So I'm used to having to do that. And those of us who are in this kind of niche of a niche have to do that.
Right.
I mean, even with the products, I have to change things. I end up using the ebook thing all the time, because I can just put my own stuff in there. But with copy packs, that's just it. I try to break it down. Instead of looking at the great big picture, I go down to the one issue and go try to look at it from that, and then add the other stuff. So you really are explaining exactly what I've had to do.
Okay.
And it works. Exactly.
one more question. When you're are you using the templates from Canva or are you using something different? Just so people kind of see the
I use
variety.
both. I make all my graphics in Canva.
Okay.
Sometimes I take the information, it's faster for me sometimes just to use some Canva templates than to use the page wheel ones because they're pastels and I don't use pastels and I know I can change it, but then it becomes this big thing and I am not a graphics person. What color should I make them? And and then it becomes a problem. That's what I get stuck on.
Okay.
So I don't always use the graphics in Pagewheel or the templates in Pagewheel. I use a lot in Canva just because I'm used to it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question? I think
It
they're
does.
good, but
Yeah.
it's my brain. I get stuck on the creativity part. I mean, jokingly, at Christmas time, people make these gingerbread houses and I buy these kits each year. And I bring it home, and within 5 minutes, my brain, I'm bored. And my husband, who is very creative, he has to finish it.
Yeah.
So last year he said, stop buying the gingerbread houses because I don't want to make any more. And he's the one who has to do them. So anything creative, color, anything like that, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. So
I love it.
anyway,
So,
probably too
and
much information.
yeah, I think the one thing that I would encourage if you made an image or something like that, the Canva templates are a really good place to start, but don't be afraid to go beyond that. And I'm a PicMonkey user because I'm like 100 years old. So I kind of look at what that looks like and then I just recreate it in PicMonkey. Kim, if you talk about how you use it.
Sorry, busy typing in the chat. She called on me. She saw me. Like the teacher watching what you're doing, right? One of the things that I was thinking about in line with the prompting, because a lot of people are struggling with that, and I don't find that hard for me because I don't know. It's like a game I play, right? Like I'll try this and see what I get, and I'll try that and see what I get until I hit on the thing. But something that I got taught on YouTube, like when you're learning to do YouTube videos, is that you type in a bit of your prompt at the top, you type in the bit of the video you want to make, and then it gives you all these suggestions of other things that people have done. So if we could have something like that, that would be good, like AI prompt where it would be like you type in 5 or 6 words, and then it suggests maybe five or
For a
six
prompt.
other type of things to play
Yeah.
around with.
I
Wow,
love that. And if you ever using like Chat GPT or something like that, a lot of times if you're not getting the results, I will say, I need different results. What should I be asking you?
yeah,
So we could implement something over on Pagewheel that basically is like, okay, what do I need to ask you?
yeah, like it's prompt suggest or
I
something,
love that.
like
Tell me what I want to know.
Yeah,
Just like
tell me what I
Target.
want to know.
Nobody goes into Target with a list.
Yeah. Kim, what do you find is the templates within copy packs that you're using the most
oh my
in
gosh.
your
I use them all. I've been using them. I was one of the original people, and I was so happy when we got those because that just takes so much off my plate. But right now, the viral hooks are working well for me on YouTube as the thumbnail cover. Right.
Oh, nice.
So I do the name of the video, how to do XYZ, but on the thumbnail, I use the viral hook and say, amazing hack, blah, 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 because it's not how I
Yeah.
normally talk, right?
Right.
So I was like, well, I'll put that on the thumbnail because I've been taught that the thumbnail and the title should be different, right?
Right.
So
Right.
because they're going to see the title if they see the thumbnail, the title's underneath, right? How to do XYZ. But so they've been, I mean, I don't have a huge following on YouTube, but I am starting to build that channel out. And I'm seeing significant difference if I use the viral hook of some sort that seems suitable to me. You have to go through them and think, yeah, I wouldn't talk like that, or I wouldn't say that, but that seems right for this video. And then I just throw it on top of my thumbnail picture, and it seems to be helping. So that's one
Okay.
that I really use a lot.
That's actually a
Um,
good idea for Facebook though, because Facebook doesn't like for you to put a YouTube video. So
mhm,
you could take that thumbnail and make
Yep,
it your Facebook post
yep,
and then say link to the video in the comments.
yep.
Yeah,
And
and
That
or
might be a good
this
way to stretch it out.
this
to
is
dress
something
to drag it
that
over.
strategy of using your real estate to give as much context as possible is really, really a good one across the board. I have
Yeah,
first learned it as a search engine optimization strategy is like, okay, you have the title and you have the text around the picture and you have the first paragraph and Google's going to see all the things. So don't repeat the same keywords over and over again because it got it the first time. Give it context around it. So if you have like the description, you have the photo, you have the picture of like all those things is think about the, giving context, thesaurus words, like giving more information because a lot of these social medias platforms are now search engines for people finding your content. So the more words you've expressed in different ways, the more likelihood that that's going to reach to someone who actually is looking for that. So that
I know it
YouTube
works
is a
on
great one.
I know it works on Facebook, but I also realize like on YouTube, they call it the click-through rate. So if somebody sees the picture and they click through, do they stay on the video? Or are they getting what they thought they were going to get? Right.
Mhm.
And that's been better because like it's been much higher because of I'm sure it's got to be the viral hooks. That's the only thing I've really changed. Right. And
Yeah.
I have heard, just in case you don't know, is that YouTube um, is coming out with their own community, not their little tiny one single post on your YouTube channel thing, but an entire community thing is being built. It's in beta right now. And it sounds very similar to how Facebook works, right? It's going
Okay.
to have they're going to be able, your audience is going to be able to build, like add pictures and have conversations with each other. And
Nice. Yeah.
so all of this is going to apply on YouTube as well.
Yeah, and I love the idea. And I know a lot of us came from creative fields so that we don't really think about the numbers on this, but click through as a strategy is really, really important. So, like if it's on a video, they're not going to get to experience your video if they don't click. If it's, you're sending them on a Pinterest pin to a recipe, they're not going to click on that if they don't have a strong, call to action to do so. The same thing, I would say those viral hooks that we talked about a minute ago, those work really well also for email subject lines because they're not going to read your beautiful email if they don't open it. So
Yeah.
all these like, hey, pushing them to that next step can be really, really helpful. Thank you, Kim. Eileen, how are you using it?
For the Canva templates that are in Pagewheel, if I'm making them for my my marketing services, I start with a fresh copy of the template, and then I make a copy, and then I make all the changes at once. So I go in and I use my brand colors on the sticky notes. I change the personal brand expert posts so that they're all color for my brand, right? Yes, it takes a lot of time the first time, but once I've done that, I keep that as my original, and then I never have to do it again. The only one I haven't messed around with is the Pinterest pins. I mean, I am posting to Pinterest. I probably don't have a very good strategy there, but that's okay. I don't need to do all the things.
No, and just a note about Pinterest, branding is a lot less like I don't even put my blog name on most of my pins. Number one, speed is good over there, but also and proliferation is good, and branding is a lot less because you're attracting someone to that idea or to that specific pin. So I love that idea, Eileen. Thank you. We have a question to go through a prompt specific to a real estate. So let's go back. So let's talk, April. Your client is a real estate agent and you're
Right.
giving them ideas for posting to their social channels. And their ultimate goal, I am assuming, is to attract people in their community that want to buy or sell houses. Is that right?
Exactly. Most realtors, if you look at a typical realtor's feed, it is, here's my open house this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It is share this post because this house is now for sale. It is under contract, or it is, hey, I love referrals.
Right.
That's their whole feed.
Right.
And nobody's going to share those things. They're not growing. Their following is not growing. And they're coming to me for help. And I do run prompts sometimes, but they just don't quite I'm not sure, do I need to be saying Atlanta? Do I need to be saying Henry County? Can I include their location? Is that good or not? I'm just stumped.
Yeah. So Okay, so let's open this up to everybody to give some feedback before we even start here.
Because if I can perfect this, y'all, there's more realtors than there are houses for sale in America.
That's true.
I have something I'd like to say to that.
Yeah, go, Cynthia.
Exactly. It works the same way as it does for me. The prompt needs to be more about the person looking for the house instead of the real estate agent.
Okay.
Yes,
Think
I love
about the
that.
person who is using their services. What would they say? You know?
So what if we said,
Right.
what top, and remember, this is prompting you to put a product in there. So you could think about, I'm making up a product. Like, so top reasons why someone needs to move, I don't know, and sell a house. Let's just see, like, but this is a very unconventional so let's do a social calendar just to see what will happen there. An unconventional prompt. Thinking about like, hey, here's some ideas of why you might be selling your house, why, think about how, one of the things that you have seen real estate agents go viral with is staging tips for selling your house. So think about like these different milestones that are of change that people need assistance that they're not thinking about every day. So let's see, moving for a job opportunities, share stories and successes, and encourage users to comment with their own relocation stories. That's kind of, I never even thought about something like that. Like, how could you talk about, because remember, this is about that human connection. When buying and selling houses is about that human connection. So like when people see themselves in that, like, oh my gosh, that story is similar to mine, or I'm going to share this with my sister because it sounds exactly like what happened to them. So I think there's a huge opportunity for like once a week telling a relocation story or something like that, or a horror story or a attention seeking story, or how someone redemption story, ways to like, quick guides to overcoming obstacles in that space. Upsizing or downsizing, doing the changing to family needs. This is huge in my area because I live in a neighborhood with a lot of, well, I live in a high rise. So basically everybody who lives here has downsized because they're not very big units. So like tips for downsizing, reasons to downsize, or like, and then the opposite side of the spectrum, the dream home, thinking about like, what does that mean? And that's where like I see these all the time in my feed, like these inspirational kitchens, inspirational living rooms, inspirational, how could you take a tip from that and implement it into your own home? And then having that knowledge attached to that real estate agent that then you have a connection to. Oh, better education opportunities for children, highlighting some of the benefits of living in the community that those real estate agents service. Why would you move to Flower Mound versus Louisville versus Denton? They're all within 20 minutes here. And it's not so much about, one is better than the other, but what fits you. Like here's some special things about each one of these areas, like, and you can think of engagement posts that would include like, other people that might live in these areas commenting about what they love, their favorite restaurants, resources, boutiques, like a lady who makes chocolate and teaches classes moved into my neighborhood and has a store now. Like, like that's a reason to live in my neighborhood. We can go make chocolate, and together. That, stuff like that that's like unique makes these places something that people coming in and relocating, we're like, no, I want to live in that neighborhood. Does that help, April?
Yeah, for sure. I hadn't even thought of half of these things, and I guess I just wasn't putting in the right, prompt. I was getting responses like, you know, the woes of being a realtor. Um,
Yeah.
and
Okay,
I'm
so
like, we don't
I
want to show up online and whine about being a realtor.
and I think, remember, we're talking AI. And I think a lot of the times, and this is a very common problem with people's own social media, is they're thinking about it from their perspective
Right,
and not the perspective of the person who's in that feed.
right.
So we need to put ourselves, and that's one of the reasons why I'm always talking about, like, you can't be glossy and like people do not connect with that that magazine version of your life. They could,
Mm-mm.
because they can't relate to that. But like the all hell that broke loose yesterday when we were trying to get, kids to different classes, and like, like the car was broken, and like that people understand, like that people raise their hand and go, oh my gosh, that happened to me last week, or oh, I had a friend last night who missed her plane because the she stopped by my house afterwards, because she went into the airport and there was so much traffic between the where you enter the airport and pay your money to go into the airport and the gate. She was stuck in traffic, didn't even make it to her gate in the hour and a half that she had taken. I lived 7 minutes from the airport, but like it took her an hour and a half to get to her gate. By that point, her plane had already taken off. Like that is a story that, like, whether that has happened to you, like, that is something that people resonate with. So thinking about what is that reader going to resonate with in that realtor's world.
Right, much better. Yeah,
Mhm.
All
yeah,
right,
for sure.
Eileen.
I want to jump on to what you were saying, Holly, is to think of the perspective of you're not just selling the home, you're selling a way of living. Okay. What is the lifestyle? Why should they choose that house, that street, that neighborhood, that town or city, whatever it is? I mean, what are the house might be beautiful, but you have to sell more than that. I mean, when we moved 5 years ago, we had a very specific list of things we were looking for. And our kids are older, so the school system wasn't even on the list. But I called it a unicorn list because the list of things that we really were looking for was almost impossible. But we eventually found it.
I love that. Oh, I love what is on, thinking about what is on your has to have list for your next house, like things like that like are non-negotiable or are silly, or like, and you could talk to these realtors and get some of those stories, because, like there's like, yeah, I can tell you some of the non-negotiable that are in my husband and I list, which has caused us to build our last two houses. Because like they're unique, and those are funny stories that people would be like identifying with. The other thing I would leave you with when you're thinking about this too is there's a lot of pain points in a lot of our businesses. And I know that Cynthia was talking about some of those too. So I in my previous life, I was a physical therapist that specialized in chronic pain, and I worked at one of the country's best pain clinics. And so we were advertising in national magazines and stuff like that, because we would get our clientele from across the country. But I'm working at a pain clinic, but you can't advertise. I mean, people don't buy pain. They buy getting out of pain. So that creates, even though we are technologically and socially and compassionately the best pain clinic in the country, we can't lead with pain because people want nothing to do with pain. But we can lead with the dream of managing pain and living without pain and stuff like that. So thinking about what are you selling? We're not selling pain. Even though it says pain clinic on the front door, we're not selling pain. We're selling the opposite. And I think sometimes we go to our marketing thinking, oh, I'm a pain clinic, I'm selling pain. Well, that's obvious, but a lot of you are doing that. You're selling basically the problem, not the solution. So thinking about, why are people going to choose that real estate agent over someone else? Because they're well connected, they're going to make it an easy, painless position. They know their community, and by posting about the community and what the assets are and how there's different features in all these houses, that builds a level of trust with the public that you are an expert, not only in selling you a house. Nobody's buying like someone to sell them a house. They're buying someone to take the pain off their plate of going through all the listings and like weeding through all the things they don't want to see. Like, oh, you tell me my 10 things that I want. Oh, I know 3 houses off the top of my head that have those things. You don't have to go to the internet and sift through 1,000 houses. You don't want to live in that neighborhood because of the way your priorities are. This community is going to be a better choice for you. Let's go look at houses over there. So remember, they're looking at the convenience and the expertise of someone who knows the community, knows the market, and isn't going to waste their time on a bunch of things that they don't want. All right, anything else before it looks like we have just another minute or two?
I had somebody ask me yesterday how close we are to the 100 in the agency and when the price will go up.
Yeah, I think we're still about 20 away. Don't quote me on that, because Rachel just got back into town last night. So we just had our first conversation last night, and we've been in like getting through the day mode. I don't know if that has come across to anyone, but that's our season right now. So like no one's looked at the numbers, and it may be Monday before I actually have an exact count on that. It's okay. There's a season for everything. All right, everyone. Just FYI, for those of you that can join us on Monday, I've had to change the time. And so I put a big, the Google Calendar says time change on it. And I just put it at 2 p.m. Central Time, which is what our Wednesday one normally is, just because we ended up having a scheduling conflict. So just check your Google Calendar before you show up at our normal time on Monday, and spread the word about that too. If you know of a friend that's planning on coming that isn't here. And
so Monday's later now.
Monday.
Just for Monday or forever?
This one Monday, I had a
Okay.
scheduling conflict. So instead of canceling, I thought we'd just put it a little bit later, because I know that some people, especially on the other side of the world, they like our afternoon ones better. So
I'm
so
not
anyway,
seeing anything on Wednesdays anymore. Is that just me?
so
That's agency school now.
the Wednesdays have been removed from the regular calendar, and they have been given to the enterprise level. So if you
Okay.
are a founder, or if you are in the at the enterprise level, check that area, because that has that calendar. So
I'm so far behind. I've missed all the
Yeah.
agency school stuff.
Yeah, the agency school, for those of you who don't know, the agency school now has its own agency school. And so we've taken that Wednesday, and we're just emphasizing agency stuff. And one of the reasons why we're doing that is so that we're not infiltrating the entire Monday and Friday with just agency questions, because you're like, enough already. I just want to do my own thing.
KJ, I just tagged you inside the agency school group in the Google Calendar post.
So there's
Okay,
a separate Google Calendar. Those of you founders or enterprise level, that you can, if you're not in that group, ask someone who knows, or send a message to me. I can get you in there. And then there's a separate Google Calendar for that, which is, big secret, the Wednesday meeting. So the Pagewheel as a company has the Monday and Friday now, and then the specific levels are taking that Wednesday.
I will say that onboarding doc that she just posted is golden. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed to see. Like I was in my mind going, what in the heck do I need to, what does the first meeting need to look like? And she just like,
Put it out there. I love
yeah.
that. I love
Last
that.
thing I want to say is I miss Janine. I love you, Holly. I love Rachel, but I'm like, where's Janine? So anyway, no big deal. I know she's
No,
got other things.
and we definitely, Janine has been so busy. We've been keeping her busy behind the scenes, but I think she'll be back probably take one of either the Monday or the Friday going forward in 2025. Once we figure we're getting our act together. You guys, we've been so we like this whole branding ourselves as hot messes has come in really handy. So
I think together is a myth. It's a myth.
yes, so
Let's break it.
perfection is super overrated and like super unachievable. So like we're just rolling. But yeah, and I will mention to Janine that you guys miss her because she's amazing. So all right, everyone, have an amazing weekend, and hopefully I'll see some of you on Monday at the different time. Bye.